Now at 4:30, growing concerns about cyber attacks. Crippling ransomware attacks are creating chaos for major businesses and causing real problems for Americans. There have been two major ones in the last few weeks. And joining us live is Jeff Pegues, Chief Justice and Homeland Security Correspondent for CBS News. Jeff, thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
So first off, what should companies be doing to better protect themselves from cyber attacks? It feels like we're hearing about another one each day.
Yeah, they have to really make sure that they have cyber experts on staff in-house, because this is a 24/7 job monitoring your computer systems, preventing these kinds of ransomware attacks that we've seen lately. And part of the reason, Aaron, that we're really paying attention to this now is because you had Colonial Pipeline, where people could see the gas lines on television. And they could see the fact that, if they went to get gas right now, they might not be able to get any. And that's why you had this panic buying. And so when you see ransomware attacks manifesting themselves in a way that the public can see it, that's when you have pressure on public officials, the Biden administration, law enforcement to do something about it, which is why now you have the Department of Justice saying that they are going to treat these ransomware attacks like terrorism investigations. And what that means is following the money.
You're exactly right, because these cyber attacks have been impacting the average American, and that's why we're all noticing them. They've been widespread across the country. They're affecting a number of different industries. Do we know why these attacks appear to be becoming more prevalent?
Well, think about it. More than any other country in the world, we all have these phones. We have computers all over the place. And so in terms of targets, there is no shortage of targets for these criminal organizations, in many of these cases located in Eastern Europe or somewhere in Russia. And so with all of these targets, they're trying to take advantage of the vulnerabilities, whether it's in a school system's computer network or whether it's in public transportation's networks. And so they are looking for targets. And that's why it is so important for companies out there, government institutions, big or small, anywhere in this country, to protect themselves. Have good cyber hygiene because you're going to really need it.
I like that. Good cyber hygiene. Jeff, last question for you. Today, the head of the Colonial Pipeline appeared before a Senate committee answering some questions about the ransomware attack that shut down that fuel pipeline you were talking about earlier. What were the big takeaways for folks today?
Well, for me, the big takeaway was the fact that he outlined the thought process in paying that ransom, because, Aaron, as you know, government officials are telling companies, do not pay the ransom because it incentivizes these criminal organizations to do more of these ransomware attacks. And so the CEO of Colonial Pipeline had to explain his decision to lawmakers in Washington. And what he said was, they didn't waste any time making that decision. They realized that they were the target of this ransomware attack on May 7th. And that was the day, he says, that they decided, we're going to have to pay. And the reason why they decided that they were going to have to pay is because so many millions of people across the country, especially along the eastern seaboard, they were depending on those deliveries of gasoline. And when the line started forming, that really became a pressure point for Colonial Pipeline. And that is likely why those hackers somewhere in Russia chose Colonial Pipeline, because they knew that there would be this growing pressure for the pipeline to pay up, because you had all of these customers waiting for their services that just weren't coming.
Absolutely. It's all fascinating, and I'm sure this is not going to be the last cyber attack we are talking about. So insightful. Jeff Pegues with CBS News, thank you so much for taking some time to be with us. We appreciate it.